Desert oaks.
We're at Lake Disappointment and just here minding our own business when what to our wondering eyes should appear but a little camel come to check out what we're doing. Hello. Very, very cool. Hello. You're just checking us out, aren't you? Where are your friends? You a young male or something? Just hungry. Is this where you were wanting to have breakfast? What's up, Tare?
Well, I was just doing a little bit of downloading of my cards onto the computer, and I had a camel stroll into the campsite.
How's that?
That's a first for us.
That's cool.
We've never had that happen before.
Some kind of an ant sand structure? I don't know. Still a mystery.
Well, we are leaving our epic little desert oak camp on the lakes, on the shore of Lake Disappointment. And I'm bummed out that we're having to leave, actually. Our Starlink today decided it wasn't going to connect for whatever reason, and we were going to stay for the day.
And you have an important meeting in 25 minutes.
Ain't gonna happen. We're not long left our Lake Disappointment camp, probably only about 5 kilometers or so, and we're still in these stands of desert oaks. They're awesome, and they seem to stretch on forever. I wonder whether the little guys sprout near the big guys because of the seeds, or whether they've got those little rhizomes that run along under the ground and then pop up.
Camel cut across, walking straight down the track.
And shitting on the track. I can hear the rhino hide creaking in the sunshine. And the reason it's creaking in the sunshine is we've just crossed over the Tropic of Capricorn. That's hotter on that side of the sign than it is over on this side of the sign.
I call bullshit.
North, south. Erected by Bill Prue Dan and Rowena Singleton of Narrabri, New South Wales, 1992.
Cool.
Believe it or not, you're looking at well number 19. That little depression in the ground, there's a trough, and that is really about it. Also, it's the first one that we've seen on the edge of a salt pan, so I don't know how they kept the briny taste out of the water being so close to a pan like this, but it must be good enough for the cattle to drink. When is a well not a well? When it's a 19. There's nothing here.
At well 19, the well that's not a well, and the camels have been here too.
We're running along the edges of these small lakes, and the big lake, of course, is Lake Disappointment, and I think all these little ones are also called Lake Disappointment. So there were multiple disappointments. I can't remember the explorer, but it was in the late 1800s that happened to cross that lake, and he named it Lake Disappointment because it was dry. Well, there's a herd of camels. Are they called herds? Mob.
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 Yeah.
I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe.
Okay. Oh yes. Camel chasing. They've tucked over the dune in front of us, or they're in the scrub and we can't see them, but we know as we get closer they will make themselves even more scarce. So while we have an idea where they are, Terry can go see if he can see them.
It's awesome that you get these desert oaks all along the edges of these salt lakes. You certainly don't see that in the Simpson. There's no desert oaks in the Simpson, but they do have Gidgee, and that's pretty cool too.
Love the Gidgee.
We do love the Gidgee. Driving through a veritable forest here.
No one's been through in front of us today, and we weren't even out early.
No, we weren't.
A lot of camel tracks.
Just past well 19, and what do we got? Another wreck. This one hasn't been burnt yet, so it's probably a little bit newer than the last one we saw. And I can see what the drama was right here. That drawbar is snapped off, and my goodness, that metal is so thin. That's like the purlins on your shed. It's that bloody thin. Not surprised this one got nuked. And yes, people have to throw their rubbish in there too, don't they? Good on you guys. There's where the drawbar was connected to the trailer itself, and she's clean snapped on both sides. Have a look at this stand of trees. Holy cow cats.
An enchanted forest.
It is. Enchanted forest of desert oak. Quite surprised there's not more camps underneath these. Must be the roots of these desert oaks making the track undulate like this. Crunchy desert oak pine needles.
Like you're walking around on potato crisps and
It is, isn't
crunching them.
According to our map, as soon as we cross over this dune on our right hand side, we will see a big ass lake, Lake Disappointment. Not the big one, but a biggie-ish one.
There's your next dog, Hakeem, biggie-ish. Instead of Biggie.
Doesn't really look like it's got a salt bottom though, does it? It's pretty vegetated.
But I like the color of the vegetation on it. That was like autumn colors right on the edge.
Passing through more of these desert oaks, but these guys are little immature guys. Jill calls them toilet brushes. They are kind of shaped like a toilet brush or a bottle brush.
Yeah, baby bottle brush.
Baby bottle brush.
But not to be confused with a bottle brush tree.
No. No, we won't find a bottle brush out here. They're pretty water loving, those suckers. There's a stand of juvenile ones that carked it. Why did you guys die?
Only the strong survive.
They are everywhere through here. Unbelievable. It is the dominant tree by far.
Lake Disappointment could be called Lake Desert Oak, really.
It could be, yeah. This is going to be a series of videos about all the crap that's laying on the side of the tracks here. Anyway, we are about 2 kilometers west of Savory Creek, and we happened across another trailer. And I'm looking at this sucker as well. Exactly the same problem as the last one. The drawbars snapped off. This one's actually a little bit thicker steel than the last one, but still toast. It had independent suspension on it as well. It's a bit of timber there, so it must have been a hard floor one. Ah well, another one bites the dust. We keep going. Savory Creek, 2 kilometers away.
Okay, what's up, Tare?
So we're at the Savory Creek crossing, and it doesn't look too savory. We just met 3 cars heading in the opposite direction, and they went through over there. Look at all the shit that they've thrown up. So we're gonna go right through the bloody center of the thing. I'll put the drone up first so that we can have a look.
Film ourselves.
Film ourselves, yeah.
Because we have nobody to film us, and I'm not walking across that.
Fine, so take one for the team. Do it, do it, do it.
No, I'll go up to my thighs and get stuck, and then do the Homer Simpson, get my feet out with my face.
No, that's okay. I'm pretty sure I can struggle my way out. First, I'll just reach in and pull my legs out. Now I'll pull my arms out with my face.
I'm filming myself walking, and man, is that squishy here at Savory Creek. My feet are squishing down. It's like you're walking on a mat. Very squishy. We've just crossed Savory Creek, and we didn't fling up mud or leave anything much of a footprint at all. It's even filled in already. That was very uncomfortable feeling bottom for me. That mud was a bit icky. There was a little bit of a drop off, but we're through it, and the water isn't even up on the truck. So that was not a deep crossing. We've been through way, way, way deeper than that. And we're gonna go have our lunch soon as we find a nice lunch spot. What did you think, Tare?
I think it's time for lunch. I'm gonna run down Savory Creek to Lake Disappointment, and we'll have lunch on the shore.
Okay, what am I gonna do?
Maybe lunch.
What a jerk. It's like, I'm going to, and it's like, okay, well, leave me here then. There's the sign for Savory Creek. There he goes to have his lunch that I didn't make him yet.
Okay, we are running south now down along Savory Creek, and we're heading towards Lake Disappointment. We're going to have lunch there before continuing our trek east, northeast. Running along the shores of Lake Disappointment at the moment, looking for a nice little picnic area. Not a lot of shady trees around here. Not that we need shade, it's actually quite cool. We had our lunch under a couple of desert oaks on the shores of Lake Disappointment, and now we're running along the shores of Lake Disappointment. In fact, I think we're probably in the lake itself at the moment.
No, not on the map.
Okay.
By the drawing, it looks like we're in sand dunes, but I would argue with that too. I can see a dune up in front of us, I guess, but it's termite mounds and salt pan, mud flats.
Salt bush.
And some spinifex.
Well, number 20. We've got ourselves a steel trough. We've got a star picket with a well 20 sign on it. And we've got a shallow depression in the ground with a bit of gravel around the perimeter to mark where the hole was dug. Well 20 is 9 kilometers off the CSR, 18 kilometer round trip. So if you're doing 20 kilometers an hour in here, it's going to take you an hour to get in and back out again. So if a mate says, hey, I've done the Canning Stock route, ask him whether he's done well 20 or not, because only the dedicated come back here. If you did want to camp back here at well 20, it's not a bad little spot. You're nestled in and amongst these desert oaks, but it's a long way off the track for a campsite that you could probably find right off the track. We're heading back out to the CSR from well 20. As I mentioned, it's a 9 kilometer diversion off of the main track, and not a lot of people do it because you can tell the spinifex down the middle of the track is a lot taller than the stuff on the main track. Hasn't been knocked down as much. So only the very dedicated come back here to check out 20. I think we're going to see the main Lake Disappointment again just over top of this rise. There she blows. Termite mounds on the edge of Lake Disappointment.
Terry?
Matt.
Jill?
Yes.
Jafffa Adventures, correct?
That's the
so
one.
These guys are on YouTube. Now, we put a post up on the Canning Stock route page
2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago when we had the Starling Cup. We haven't had a chance to check it, but we pretty much asked if anyone, it's a bit of a long shot, has a spare drone controller or a drone controller they're willing to sell us if they're not using it too much, because we use our drone quite a lot, and I really, really wanted to have the drone for the rest of this trip. You just happen to have an entire drone spare that you're happy to palm off to me. So
Yeah, it's not working 100%, but it's okay.
Oh,
It
geez, mate.
flies a little bit pissed.
honestly, yeah, that's perfectly fine.
But it's yours,
Becca's gonna
mate. It's
choose-
yours. Don't post it back.
Well, I've got to post it back.
No. If you can't use it, if you can't use it, give it to somebody who can. All right.
Right, all right. It'll be the communal drone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
maybe someone will need it on the way out. Yeah, who knows?
100%, mate.
No, thank you very much, mate. I really
No,
appreciate
my
it.
pleasure, Matt.
That's
My
good.
pleasure.
I gave him only one single beer. It's a bit lousy on me, but I think I'm gonna need.
And it was empty.
I'm gonna need at least 10 tonight to drown my sorrows from today. We should have been at camp hours ago, but anyway.
Yeah,
that's what you get
fair
sometime.
enough. Well, number 21, and we are at this well much later than when we normally travel. We just met up with Matt and Holly from Overland Travellers and gave our drone to those guys so that they should be able to do a little bit of drone work for the rest of their trip. And we need to find ourselves a camp because it's got to be 4 o'clock now, Jill? 4:08. Oh, look, a snake.
Gummy snake.
How do you pronounce that one?
Jilkapuka.
Jilkapuka. It's my wife's name. Now there's nothing left of this one. We got a big sinkhole. We got a steel trough and the little pory bit.
There's some stuff in the bottom bit.
Yeah, the bottom's got a little bit of timber in it and some grass growing.
Sun is setting and it's incredibly pretty. The clouds are making it. Terry's cooking our steaks.
Nearly ready, hon.
Okay. What's up, Ter?
Well, I was doing my under bonnet check that I do every morning, and I found that that battery wasn't clamped down, and our little battery hook was laying down inside of there. So the original bolt has rattled off, and then that's dropped down inside there. So
Corrugation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I have a new bolt and a washer and some Loctite. So I'm going to put the bolt on with a washer and some Loctite, and hopefully that'll be the end of that. But yes, corrugation's taking their toll again.
And we know there's lots more ahead of us to come.
Hopefully I don't regret this when I have to take this battery out again at some point in time, but we'll show some Loctite on the threads. Spring washer and Loctite.
Well, at least you can only be annoyed with yourself. Little birds are talking to you.
Telling me how to fix this. Thanks, birdie num-nums. There, that ain't gonna rattle free. That ain't going nowhere, as the dads say. Okay, under bonnet check done. Now I'm gonna change that air filter on the snorkel sock. Put a couple of more bits of tape on the scrub bars so that we don't get them all bashed to bits, and we're good to go.
Alrighty. We might put our tent down too.
We packed up our camp, and this is the point in time where there's always a teeny little bit of apprehension. No matter how well you maintain your vehicle and all the checks that you do, that first start in the morning, you're like, please start. Yay!
There she goes.
You say a little bit of a yay to yourself inside.
Yeah. He often doesn't let on to me he does that, but I know he does. I'm the same.
Everybody does it. Like, on your own, everybody does.
Yeah, for sure. See some rain off in the distance. Heading on our way to well 22 and then Georgia Boar.
Good morning, Jafffa Adventures. Day number 9 on the Canning Stock Route. We are just west of well number 21, and as you can see in front of us, that looks like a bit of rain.
Yeah, up to my side as well.
I don't think it's actually hitting the ground, but it might be. We'll see.
That way. It's all around us.
We had a trackside camp last night. We got to camp, well, we got to the spot where we camped very late. For us, it was 4:30ish, I think. We're about 16 kilometers west of Georgia Bore, where we'll recommission with water and yeah, keep pushing in an easterly direction.
We've got well 22 first.
Yeah, well 22 first, and when we get to, if we get to well 25 or just west of well 25, some dude lost a big Bowie knife and he posted up on Facebook. If anybody sees it, grab it for me. So we'll keep an eye out for that and see whether we can find it for him. And he's a cool guy because his name's Terry.
Oh, geez.
Well, we've been running down that swale for the last 20 kilometers, and we're finally crossing a dune. Thank goodness. Those corrugations were horrendous. Yeah, I think that rain is hitting the ground. Just.
Very pretty.
Well, remember how I said that rain wasn't going to hit us? It's got us. I use rain very loosely, of course. You get 10 drops out here, and if you get 20, you bogged. This is very neat. We're in a bowl between two dunes, one on the left and one on the right, and we're going to come out the end of it.
Rocking and rolling.
Yeah, they surely are chewed up. Looks like that's proper rain out there, doesn't it? We're in this little forest of these tall, skinny, stringy trees. Like a honeysuckle or a locust or a hawthorn or something like that. Anybody got any idea what they are? Let me know. I'd be very interested. Well, I can confidently report that rain or a damp track does not make corrugations any less vicious.
Well, 22, we're coming for you.
Yes, very tall spinifex and ghost gums almost looks like.
Yeah, they're really pretty.
I think they are ghost gums. It's the first time we've run into these little suckers. We've pulled up at well 22. We've got a muffler laying here, and that looks suspiciously like a 200 series muffler. It's the right size. And here is our well, fully collapsed, supporting a large array of grass. And one tree, yes. Trough laid out through the grass. Mr. Well 22, I didn't even like you before I even saw you, and that's a little bit unfair, but the track here from the west was corrugated all to shithouse, and if you're coming at it from the east side, I hear that's all corrugated to shithouse as well. So you left a rotten taste in my mouth, and it's not even your fault, Mr. Well. Well, we're at Georgia Bore, and I'm going to fill our jerry cans up. Maybe. Do it, water. Come on.
Don't you know, pump it up. I want to pump it up.
I like the innovation that somebody did putting that can, that
Drink bottle.
on the end and taping that on.
Yeah.
That's bloody awesome.
In 1990, a mineral exploration company set up a camp at the junction of the Talawanda Track and the Kenningstock route to evaluate the area for mineral deposits. The tradition in the company was to name camps after the most recently born child of those working on the project. In this case, the newly born daughter of the senior geologist gave her name to the new camp, Georgia Camp. A bore was drilled to supply the Georgia Camp with a good water supply. The water was both plentiful and fresh. By 1991, the camp had completed its purpose and was removed. The exploration company, knowing the scarcity of water in this region, made the decision to equip the bore with a hand pump so that all people living and traversing this arid region could make use of this precious water resource.
This is the main camping area at Georgia Bore. You have a shelter with some leaves on the top of it. You have a half a sign that tells you to stop. And if I'm not mistaken, that looks like a Land Cruiser differential. It's been rebuilt once before because that's non-genuine gasket material on it in case of emergency. 60 series. I was right. She's a Land Cruiser. All right, we're moving on from Georgia Bore. It doesn't have a lot going for it here other than you can get water, which is great, and there is a toilet over there behind the cruiser. But that's about it. Other than that, I think you can do better as far as camps go. We are starting to get into some mountainous country, so that'll be interesting to see what it delivers. And here we are. We are at the junction for the Pangar community. It's 82 kilometers away, and you can get fuel there if you need to. So that's kind of handy, but we are not going there. We're going to be chucking a right, continuing our journey towards Kunawariji. Stop. Pandemic emergency. Travel along the Canning stock route is restricted by law. Tourists and travelers are not welcome. Turn around now. Okay. We've not long left Georgia Bore. Obviously we're now on the east side of it, and the landscape has changed distinctively. So we're out of the sand country now, although the track wouldn't suggest that. And we're coming into Rocky Mountains and Rocky Hills. As Jill read, Georgia Bore was sunk there by mining company, and it's interesting, as soon as you see rock anywhere or hills anywhere, there's mining activity or mining interest anyway. We're running along this track at the moment at about 60, trying to keep on top of these corrugations as best we can. And it's not too bad. It is better than that sand country that we were in a little bit earlier. At least the track, you've got good visibility in front of it as well, because when you're running at 60, and somebody else is running at 60 in the other direction, you got two cars coming at one another at 120 kilometers an hour. It doesn't give a lot of time to pull up if you don't see them.
Please don't give me a word problem asking how long it'll take for the vehicles to pull up.
Well, 23. There's really not a lot left of this one either. A little bit of a hollow depression here, crumpled up lid, a bit of the trough, but not even much of that anymore. I think this is probably the most dilapidated one we've seen. Years ago, you could only do the canning with a fuel drop from the Capricorn Roadhouse to just outside of well 23. So we're driving out towards that fuel dump area at the moment. And this is more for a little bit of nostalgia for a friend of ours. I think he did the canning back in 91. And he had the fuel drop here and he filled up. So we're just gonna go see whether there's any fuel drums or anything left there. Give Mr. Wilkie a little bit of reminiscing. This looks like the spot. A couple of fuel drums laying around, and that's about it. We're at the old fuel dump site. I stepped out of the car, and what did I find? 22 Magnum shell. I'd say somebody's been taking pot shots at drums. Not much left here now. It's good to see that they've taken most of the drums away. I'd imagine that would have been the responsibility of the Capricorn Roadhouse, but I could be wrong. What do we got here? There's a brake caliper on a U-bolt. That sign says, please return pump after use. Can barely read that sign, but it says, please place used drums here. Good to see that people listen to the instructions.